and then I'll press enter. I'll close the menu, and then I'll walk over here. I'll open the menu again, and that spawns a temporary bandit showing me where that bandit's going to stand or be at, and you can see all the coordinates I logged. What's up, everybody? This is Gunter Severlo. We are on the Bandit Hideouts mod page, and today I want to give you guys a tour on how I build ambush points for the mod. I'm going to actually build an ambush point today to show you the entire process. So let's get in game. I'm going to show you where I'm going to build an ambush point. Alright, here we are in Red Dead. This is where I'm at. I'm at the Hanging Rock by Armadillo. So what we're going to do today is we're going to build an ambush point right about here. Right there in the middle.
Stay here, boy.
So I'm going to build an ambush point right about here. And I'm going to show you how I do that. So before I do anything in game, I actually have to set up the scripts and the code and stuff for this to work. So let's go back to the mod page and I'll show you what I do. Back on the mod page, so what I do is I start up a program called Microsoft Visual Studio, and it's this program here, Microsoft Visual Studio. I start this program up and I have two SLN files that I open. One is for the Hired Guns mod and one is for Bandit Hideouts. So I open the Bandit Hideouts one, and this takes a few seconds to load. And this is basically where I do all the code, add all the code and stuff for the mod, and render it into an ASI file that you guys get anytime I do an update. Just to give you a quick overview of what we're looking at here, on the right here is an index, and this lists all the scripts on the mod. There's 132 scripts. At the top here are all the pinned scripts that I use when working on the mod, so that way I don't have to constantly find them in the index. The main script that I work out of is the ganghideouts.h, which is this script here that is currently open. And then we have this script, this script, this script, and this script. Starting in this script here, we are currently at the top of the script. You can see the lines, how they count to the left. And if we scroll down, and here is a list of all the hideouts and ambush points that are currently in the mod. There's about 131 of them in total, 131 hideouts. This was the last hideout I built that I released in version 131. For ambush points, I scroll down here, and currently there's 41 because I just built one recently for the upcoming update. So for this particular script, everything has to be in order. Getting to the ambush point, what I do is I'll take an existing name and I'll copy it. Then I'll place my cursor there. I'll press Control F, which opens up a little search box, and then I'll paste the name in that search box. Now what that does is it highlights the name, and then you can see a little orange mark right here in the middle of the script. So from there I just hit enter. That takes me to this ambush point. I close this, and what I do, and I do this with hideouts as well, what I like to do, and it's more efficient, it takes less time, is I'll take an existing ambush point and highlight it all and then make a template out. It's basically I use existing stuff as templates. So just to give you an idea what all this is you have these blocks of code. So for example, this here being the recent ambush point that I just created a few days ago is one ambush point. There's a lot of other scripts that are involved with ambush points and stuff, but this is the core of the code in terms of spawning an ambush point. So that's an ambush point, and here this is just one hideout that I built a while back. Alright, let's get to the ambush point. So what I do, like I said, is I copy all the code for an ambush point, an existing ambush point, because all I have to do is just fill in the details and get the coordinates. I don't have to actually rewrite all this. So I'll just copy this, and then I go right here and I press enter a couple times so that I got space above and below that cursor. I press Control V, which will paste the code. It'll just make an exact copy of it. And at the left here you can see that it turns yellow, and what that means is what I just pasted has not been saved yet, as you could kind of see in the tooltip there. I'll save that. That makes it green. That means I saved it. And then you can see the little item saved at the bottom here. And then what I do is I start changing the details. So this is going to be ambush 42. This is actually just title notes, because this code right here doesn't do anything itself. It just basically gives me information on what this code is all for. So this is an ambush 42. We're going to name it Hanging Rock, because that's where the new ambush point will be. This will be number 10, because on the downloadable map this ambush point is in New Austin, and it will be the 10th ambush point in New Austin. Then the hideout right here we change to 42, which is the next ambush point. And it's getting a red squiggly line, which means at the bottom here it's 2 errors. So anytime you change a code that's not lined up anywhere else, you'll get an error. But there's nothing wrong here. That just means that you don't have this name, ambush 42, defined in the other scripts that are required. So the next thing I do is, if I'm in another region, not New Austin, then I would change this name. So right now Gang Lobo is fine because we're in New Austin. It's ideal for that location. So this is basically the gang that will spawn. The Lobo will spawn at this ambush point. And then all the rest of this stuff I have to actually fill in, like the reinforcement spawn points I have to do, and the guard positions I have to do, and then this part I have to get all information for. So what I do now is I go to this setting here and I change this to 42, and I go to this setting here and I change this to 42 as well. Again, when I get errors, you can see now I got 4 errors. That means these are not synced with the other scripts that also need the ambush 42 name. So these 2 settings right here, this particular setting gives the player the ability to enable or disable the ambush point through the INI. The ambush points are already enabled by default, but it just gives you the ability to disable it if you want. Now this one is the spawn amount. This was actually introduced in version 131 of the mod, and this basically just allows you to decide how many bandits that you want for a particular ambush point. I have this already defined. Now we just save this, and then I go back to the top here, I copy this, and then I have to define at the top of the script the name itself. So as you can see at the top here, you can see it where it says red. That means there's an error. That means I haven't defined it yet. So I go to the very top and I go to the ambush section in the script, and I hit enter. Remember, as I said, I have to have the hideouts and ambush points in order, otherwise I'll get an issue and they won't spawn in. I'll press Control V and then just do that, and that'll enter the name. Now you can see 1 error has reduced. Alright, so I just saved that, and now I have a few more scripts I have to add the ambush 42 at. So next we go to Hideout Groups. This basically tells the mod where this ambush point is going to be in terms of where it's located at in relation to the nearest town. In this line I basically have to list all what I'm adding. So if I'm adding a hideout, then I just put the hideout at the top. This hideout here was the last one I did. I released that in version 131 update. And for ambush points, I scroll down, I just add the new name here, and that's all I have to do for right there. And then this ambush point is in New Austin, so any ambush points or hideouts that are not in New Austin and somewhere else, then I add it to this list. But we're in New Austin, so I don't have to add it. Next, I have to find the settlement, as they're called, as Ansburg is a settlement, and add the ambush point to where it's near. So it's basically just telling the mod how to coordinate where everything is going to go. So for New Austin, that's going to be towards the bottom. So we have Tumbleweed here, we have Armadillo, we have Blackwater. So ideally it's near Armadillo, I mean literally right down the road from it. What we do here is we just go right there, press Control V, and we just add the name there. And that's it. Now I just save that, and you can see the save. We got them here in the script. That kind of gives you an idea of what you changed and where. So the next script I go to is the Persistenthideouts.cpp. Wherever you put the name in this one, it tells the mod where this ambush is going to be in the region, what region it's going to be in. So for this one, I have to actually go into the region to determine where this ambush point is going to be. Colorado Springs. So what I do here is we got Grizzly East, Grizzly West, Cumberland Forest, Scarlet Meadows, Bayou, Blue Water Marsh, Heartlands, Big Valley, Tall Trees, and again Stead, Colorado Springs, Rio Bravo, Gaptooth Ridge, etc. So Colorado Springs, that's where the ambush is going to be. So what I do here is I'll just put the ambush point right here and just take this out, and that's it. That's all I need to do there. I just save that. And then there's two more scripts I gotta go to. So then I go to the Camp Creator CPP. This is the script that I use for the menu in game where I log coordinates and stuff. So this is nothing for the player. This basically when I'm in game and I trigger the ambush point, it tells me what ambush point I'm at for the sake of testing and other information. So what I do here is I just copy this, the existing former line. Press Control C, I go one line down, I press Control V, and all I do is just change the number, and then just change the number here. This is the actual code right here, and basically when I trigger the ambush point in the game, then it will spit up this, and that's what this is, because this is the text. I could actually put more information there, but ambush 42 is all I need to know. So that's all I have to do for this particular script. The next script I go to is to Settings.h, and this is the last script I have to add anything to. So this script just works with the ini. So what I need to do here is I scroll down and I go to Disable Individual Ambush Locations. So I scroll to the bottom here. I copy the last line, press Control C, and then I hit enter, Control V to add it, and all I do is I just update the number to the next one. And this part here is in the Gang Hideouts script at the bottom of the new ambush, so that's what it's reading. That's why I got the error on the Gang Hideouts one. And then the Enable Ambush part is actually in the ini itself. So if we go to the ini and we scroll down, you could see, let's go to New Austin, so you can see this one is 10. So then Enable Ambush 41, that's what this one is. So what I need to do here is I will actually add an ambush point to New Austin here, and I will set this to number 2, change this to number 10, and rename this Hanging Rock, and that's it. I'll just save that. There's actually one more thing I have to do in this script, and this is Disable Individual Hideouts list, and Next, we go down to Hideout Custom Spawns. This is the spawn amount. So basically, all these hideouts, I have to find the ambush points, which is this right here. And I just copied the last one. Like I said, in the gang hideout script only, each hideout and ambush point have to be in order. So it has to be in order here as well. So I just add the next one, and then I just update the number. And that's it. And once it saves, I'll basically save that. Item has been saved. Alright, so now we finish the settings. We go back to gang hideouts. And basically what we need to do now is we have to actually go in game and get coordinates. We need reinforcement coordinates, and we need guard position coordinates, and then we need the center radius coordinates to add to this, and then we're all set. So we're going to go in game now and get those coordinates. Back in game, what I do now is I hit page up on my keyboard, and you can see a menu that comes up. And what I do is I move it to log PL card, and this will log coordinates where I'm standing at. So I got to decide where I'm going to exactly put this ambush point. So I'm going to put it, let's see, I'll put it right here in the middle. So what I do is I stand where I want to stand, and then I'll bring up the menu, I'll hit enter, and you can see the numbers at the very bottom disappeared. And what that'll do is that'll log the coordinates for that. Next, what I got to do is actually get the reinforcement spawn points. So I'm going to go over here and put down some reinforcement spawn point, and it's basically the same thing. So I just log PL card, and then I'll go to the other side, and let's put one way back here. And I'll put one over here. And same thing. So that's the center of the ambush and reinforcement spawn points. Next, what I'll grab is the guard positions. So what I'll do here is I'm going to start over here, and what I do for this is I go to the top here. It says log guard position state sleep. I'll switch this to stand, and then I'll press enter. I'll close the menu, and then I'll walk over here. I'll open the menu again, and that spawns a temporary bandit showing me where that bandit's going to stand or be at. So that's one bandit that's going to spawn for this ambush point. I'm going to put another one up here. Put one up here and do the same thing. Open the menu. There's one going to be spawned. So these are temporary peds. They're not, you're not going to see these guys at the ambush point. Then we're going to go over here. I think I'm going to add about 5 of them. 5 bandits that will spawn at this point. We'll put one up here. And then got a guy right there. And we could actually put a guy up here. I'll put him right about here. That's another guy. And that should be plenty for an ambush. Because you got one in the back, you got one up top there, you got one up there, you got one up there. This is kind of a big area. So we could have one in the front. Could have a guy here hiding in the bushes. Put him a little bit closer. So this is going to be 6 guys at this ambush point. Alright, so everything is logged. That's all I have to do. So that's 6 ambush points. So now what we do is we go back to the script and we add these coordinates. Alright, back in the script, what we do now is we go to the RDR2 directory. All that logging does, it creates a text file called a Bandit Hideouts log. What I do is I open that up and you can see all the coordinates I logged. So what I do here is I just remove the timestamps for each of these logs and the guard position stamps just to reveal and show all the coordinates. This is actually a lot more with hideouts. So with this code here, this coordinate here, this is going to be the area center and radius of the ambush point. That's basically the first spot we stood at. So we got to paste it here. And then the next one is the 2 reinforcement spawn points, which is up here. I paste those. Just fix this up a little bit. Remove that. And then we have guard positions. And for the guard positions, all they do is just copy all these. And you can see that there's 5. And then what we do here is go like that. Press Control V. And then I just line these guys all up. So with this, there are, I thought I did a 6th one. I guess the 6th one didn't take or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 5 is going to spawn. That's fine. We don't need to have the 6th one. I could always add more or whatever, or take them out. So that's going to be 5 bandit positions that are going to spawn. So those particular spots, that's where they're going to spawn. And basically that's it for the code. All I do now is I just save all that and get rid of this. I don't need it. Don't need to save it because I have the coordinates already. And then after that, just to test this ambush point out, all I have to do is I have to build the ASI. So what that does is I go to build at the top here, build Bandit Hideouts. I click on that, and that starts the build process that will save and compile everything and generate an ASI file. And once it generates an ASI file, then I'll show you what I do after that. So this is going to take a little bit, up to 5 minutes, and when it's done, I'll show you guys. The build process has finished. It took about 7 minutes for this to be done. So basically, when the build process is done, it'll say this at the end. It'll say generating code, and then it says build 1 succeeded. And if it failed, then it wouldn't produce an ASI. So now I just close this. What I do now is I go back in game and I have to unload all my mods in order for me to delete the ASI and the log file. So we're going to go back in game, and what I do here is I press Control R. I'm using a scripthook.dev, and that will unload my mods by pressing Control R. You won't see nothing unless you got some animals in front of you that are running around or something. You'll see them delete. But then I go back to my desktop, and then I go to the RDR2 directory. I delete the ASI file. I delete the Bandit Hideouts log because I don't need it. It's only generated when I acquire coordinates. And then what I do is I open a folder called test build that the Microsoft Visual Studio produces when I did the build. And I take the new ASI file, I put it into the directory, I delete the copy, And if I'm doing more, I just leave this open, but I'm not. And that's basically it. Point out something just before I get in game here. If we go to the Bandit Hideouts.ini file, we actually have to go to the spawn amount for New Austin and actually add the spawn amount for ambushes, and this will be this here. And I just change this to 2, and then this will be 10, and this will be hanging rock. Then I save this, and I just want to point something out outside of that. Reinforcements on horse are set to 0. Reinforcements on foot are set to 0. Because if you have any reinforcements here when you're doing ambush points, then reinforcements for ambush points will spawn regardless of how many ambush points that you have. So this is all set. We just close that. That's fine. So let's go back in game and test the ambush point out. Alright, back in the game. Now we can test this ambush point out. So it should be up here. And these temporary bandits aren't going to be there. Now, you can see at the bottom left, and ambush 42.
Okay. Do that, folks. Move in. Go on, surrender. God damn it!
Let's see how a bullet does against that thick skull.
Guy's not even responding. Alright, you can see the icon in the bottom left. And if you look at the menu, how it says ambush 42 at the very bottom there, so that's the one that we defined. Damn. Alright guys, hope you liked that. This new ambush point will be in version 132. And I want to thank you guys for watching.